All right, so I have so much going on right now that I have been way behind on recording videos, and I actually already completely shot this video. I installed coilovers on the Mark IV Supra, and I lost all audio, which means, you know, it's pretty much useless. There's gonna be clips I'm gonna be able to cut to, but what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go back and I'm going to go through the steps that I took to install all of the coilover components. So front and rear coilovers, everything I had to pull out of the car to allow that, and then everything I installed along with the sizes of all the nuts and bolts and things like that. Yeah, it's just been crazy. I've been working on this old CB200, rewired the whole thing only to find that I need to pull the motor now. Water got into one of the cylinders that I hadn't known about when I started. By the time I'd finished a couple weeks later, there's some corrosion there and it's actually pretty bad and pretty gross. So I'm gonna pull it and rebuild it, which will be a first for me. I've also got parts for the Supra I wanna get in like now. So I wanna go back through and finish up any of the stuff I hadn't finished recording so I can jump onto the new stuff. So let's start with the Supra stuff. Also, please excuse the mess my garage is in. It's due to the 4 projects I have going on. I'm also rebuilding a set of wheels. I'm working on my old C1500 Sierra. I've got a ton of projects, so bear with me here. All right, so the first step is always jack up the car and get it on jack stands. And what I found the easiest way to do for this is I have a little protector, like it looks like a hockey puck with a slit cut into it for the pinch weld. So I just get the jack under the pinch welds, get it up, jack it up, and throw the jack stand under there. So that's always step number 1. So we're gonna do that and get these wheels off. And that's the wheel off, so we can get a look at the coilover. I'm gonna have to sneak you guys under here to take a quick peek at it. I've got spacers for these, so the hardware is a little, you'll see the spacer bolted to the face of the wheel, but other than that, everything should be exactly the same as a stock Supra. So let's get a look under there. Just a quick safety note, car is on a jack stand on the frame rail. I find that the easiest spot to put it in the front. Don't put it there in the rear. It's not strong enough. I also have the jack here. I leave the jack just below or about at the same height as the jack stand, just as like a safety precaution. I want the weight of the car on the jack stand. Like I don't want something to, if this jack fails, I don't want to shift and slam into that, but I also want this as a backup in case the jack stands themselves fail. That would be a silly way to go out. So I usually try to keep something back up. Some people will put a wheel under the car as well. Something like that could work too, but so starting under the car, this is an already installed coilover. What we've got is the bottom of the coilover and shock mount. Right here, it's a 19 millimeter. And basically that, and then these 3 14 millimeters up top are gonna be the bolts that you need to remove to actually have movement and remove the coilover. However, you cannot sneak this coilover out up through this upper control arm here. That you literally cannot get it to compress enough, both factory and aftermarket. There's no way it's going to be that short. So what most folks do to sneak this out is over here, there are 3 10 mils, 1, 2, and 3. And I was able to pry back this venting here, this air venting plastic piece to basically, once I've unbolted this this is both 19 millimeters here, you can slide this bolt out into here. You don't even have to take it all the way out of the shock. That will allow this whole thing to come down. Actually, you do. You have to pull it all the way out. So you're able to kind of slide that out and drop it down, and that will give you this whole play here. You can pull down on this and pull the shock up and over and out. And I will cut to a video of that. This is fed all the way out. I got some play here. As soon as I pull this all the way out, it should be ready to go. Should be able to pull this all forward. I'm gonna go up top and take the 3 nuts out up there. So you've got your 19 mil here, 19 mil here, 19 mil over here, your 3 14 mils up top for the mount for the coilovers, and then you've got your 3 10 millimeters here. Once you slide that bolt out, you can then pull down and remove your factory suspension and install your aftermarket coilover. So installing the fronts, that should be everything you need to know for the, what is my driver's side, the right-hand side of the car. On the left-hand side, the process is exactly the same. However, behind this shield here is your reservoir for your windshield wiper fluid. And what you need to do, there are 3 bolts, I believe they're 12, I was trying to remember, they're either 12 or 14 mil. And you remove those, and if you remove the bottom 2, you can actually pivot with the top one. You don't have to remove it all the way. You have to pivot it out of the way so you can slide that bolt that goes through your kind of upper control arm assembly out to do the same thing that you do on this side. And that's everything you need to know for the front. Once you do it, you know, you can put your wheels back on, drop it back on the ground, make sure you're very careful because, you know, if you put in cheap coilovers that maybe you didn't quite check out, or if you have them set really, really low and you have a really big, maybe some factory tire or something, you might smush a fender or anything like that. So you need to be really careful when you're kind of putting it back on the ground and just make sure everything clears. The other thing I wanted to mention that I usually do that you can see me do in the original videos is I count the threads. So threads aren't really a super accurate way to do ride height for a coilover, but what I like to do just to hopefully get them set roughly the same is for the front, I'll make sure that the collar that the spring sits on has the same number of threads below the bottom of the shock body and that collar, right? So if there's 8 threads, I'll count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a fingernail, 6, 7, 8, all the way up to like 8. And I'll do the same on the other side, right? Just like basically set it up that way so I have some consistency. Now, let's move on to the back. Apologies for the filthy garage again, just too much going on. But car in the rear is now jacked up as well, and on jack stands I have the whole side up. Usually I go front and then rear because I'm doing the same thing on both fronts and both rears. But in this case, just to show, I'm getting this side up. This is up. I'm gonna pull the wheel off and show you guys what's up with the suspension back here. All right, more shaky hand cam footage. It's like Cloverfield Lane in here. All right, so what we've got here is the aftermarket HKS coilover. It's where the factory coilover was. And in order to undo the bottom here, if we come down, there is a 19 millimeter bolt right here in the bottom. Again, I use Gudentite for the torque spec, but you pull this out. I usually pull the bottom out and kind of play around down here to see what it's going to be like getting the factory shock out and the aftermarket shock in. So if you pull that 19 millimeter out, whoop, back here, and then come up into the trunk, see all the detailing stuff I leave back here because nobody can see because of the privacy screen. You'll pull up your carpet in the rear, and I've already grabbed my Phillips screwdriver and pulled that away. You'll see there's a trim piece here And what this has is there's one Phillips head screw by my thumb, and then there's basically like trim pieces that tighten and loosen as you do a Phillips head here. And I only had one of them anyway, but I pulled that out and that out before I started shooting. And when I pulled this up, it went flying. So I got to go find that under the carpet. But under here, you will find your last three 14mm bolts. So you undo these nuts, 14mm nuts, undo all three on the factory, drop them down. I reuse the factory nuts just fine. Also, I have dampening adjustability back here, so that's what this is for. But yeah, you undo these, drop them down, and then you can pull it out from underneath. There is no trickery that you need to do in order to pull that out like there is in the front. You don't need to undo other suspension components. One thing to keep in mind, let's go back down here, is this brake line. I did have to kind of move it a little bit out of the way to angle it. You should be careful not to break it. This was rubber. This one might be original. I mean, this car doesn't have any rust on it, so it could be original. It's a little dry, a little stiff. But yeah, you just need to be careful getting that out of the way, and that should be it. You take your old one out, slide your new one in, and then you've got coilovers. Same thing applies. Be careful bolting your wheel back on and dropping the car back down, making sure that you don't smash into your fender or something if your fitment was different when you were, a little bit higher off the ground. As always, thank you for watching. Tune in next time as we work on the Supra. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like and a subscribe. It would really help me out.